fine enough from my side. Okay, thanks a lot. So it's 3 p.m. IST here in India. So where are you all from, by the way? Okay, so today we have the second session of the Postman, where we would be learning about the AI text summarization. So the flow of today would be whatever is given in the content of AI text summarization is good enough to go, but I would add few more things. Like if we are using an API which is already there, still we are calling it a full stack application. If we are already using an API, why do we need another API to be built on top of that? So we would be catering these things. What is authorization? What is token? We would be catering these things. Okay. So anyone who wants me to wait, or else we can just pretty move forward. Saurabh Upadhyay, you have a cute profile picture, by the way. Okay. By the way, okay, India. Anyone outside India? Okay, fair enough. I think we are pretty good to move forward. So let's just see some few terminologies. Okay, okay, US, Latvia. Okay, fair enough. So I will just share my screen at this point. So what I would urge you to do is, okay, sure. We are good enough. Now let's just start. Okay. So, hi and welcome everyone. This is the very this is the second session of Postman, where we would be learning about building an AI text summarization app. So, by the way, the very next agenda of today, again, just telling you the whole thing. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. No. Disable annotations for others. Yep, please don't do this. I need to again reshare it. Okay. So, what is basically Postman? Postman is a platform to test out the APIs, and it is an API testing platforms, and it has very new features that are outside there. Like if we are testing an API, like earlier, what used to happen in the era, like we have already did it in the last session. Earlier, what we used to do is we used to use the command line to get or the hold of get a like post APIs. If it was a get API, we could have got hold of a browser only, because browsers are capable making a get request, and we are pretty good with that. Now, what are we building here? The project we are building here is where we would be giving a long text, okay, like a essay kind of thing, and it would process that and it would give out a summary out of it. Okay, so basically this would be using AI in the backend. So what is this AI thing? Let us first discuss that. Before we discuss that, let us first discuss some of the key points. Okay, let's hear a story first. Let's say what happened was, I hope my screen is visible at this point. So people who are from outside India, they won't relate that much, but this happens a lot in India. So what happens is, let's say I am at a college, and this is the canteen of my college. Okay, this is the canteen of my college where I can have snacks and there. Okay, this is me. As I'm a regular customer and I am a student, so I fall short of money towards the end of the month. So, and the shopkeeper, what he told was, like, yes, you can pay at the end of the month. Okay, the shopkeeper told me this. Now, what I do now is, now I go to the shopkeeper, I tell my name, Siddharth, and I eat, and he, whatever, like, let's say I ate for 10 rupees. This is the currency of India. Let's say I ate a 10 rupee something. So he would write there, Siddharth, 10 rupees. So at the end of the month, when I would go to him, he would give me an account of it. Now let's say there is one notorious junior of mine who came in first year and he doesn't likes me. So what he mischievously did was he came here, he heard that I am saying the name Siddharth, and then he is giving the food to the person who is saying it. And he cracked out that if he goes to the canteen and buys something and says Siddharth in return, that is Sid in return as an acronym, he would say Sid in return, then he would get the food and I need to pay for it. Okay, like this happens, someone eats on the name of your account. Okay, like we all share many kind of subscriptions with others. Like we are paying for it, but someone is also using that, or by our friends or our families use that by using something known as email and password. So kind of like the same email and password thing, what we are doing here is I have a password, acronym password that is said that if I tell to the canteen, he would give me the food and he would write something in return. But here, this person got my password and he ate the food. Now I need to pay for him. Do I make sense? What is the problem here? Do I make sense? Give me a quick one in the chat if this is comprehend. Like you are able to comprehend. Give me a quick one. This is a continuation, Ankit. Okay. If you are not able to understand, give me a zero. I would just repeat it again. No issues. Okay. So I think we are pretty good to move forward now at this point. Let us just move forward. Okay, Roshan Kumar, can you tell me the point where you are not able to understand? Okay, so fair enough. Now, if you observe, what is the problem that is standing in the middle? The problem that is standing in the middle is that I am saying my name, Siddharth, in front of the whole canteen. And I have question on the previous part. Okay, you can just ask it at the end of the class. So the problem here the problem that arises here is that I am standing in the middle of the canteen. I am shouting my name Siddharth, and he is giving me the food. Someone hears it, and we say this in Hindi in India as "Mere naam pe kha lena." Kind of. Okay, fair enough. As we have been international students, so we won't be catering Hindi too much. So we will be moving forward with this. So if you observe, the problem here was other people are able to hear my ID and password. This is the problem here. So now let's say there is some service which is not free. Like let's say what Uber does is like in the last session, if you just recall yourself, you already know that Uber uses the API of Google Maps. But if you observe, it is not freely available. Okay, so it is a kind of partner API. Okay, so what happens is like please keep yourself on. So I would just mute all at this point. Whenever I would allow you to speak, you can just speak. Okay, fair enough. You are able to unmute yourself at this point. Or else I would just mute everyone. Whenever you want me to unmute yourself, just send me a text message. I will unmute you so that the flow of the class is not disturbed. Let's move forward. Now see, a very small thing that happens. Now what happens is Ola or Uber. Let's take the example of Uber. Uber is using the API of Maps, and then again Map is giving them for the usage thing. It is charging a service. So there is a small thing. Like if you observe here, we can see all the outgoing requests that are happening. So let us see some of the outgoing requests that are happening. Okay. So now see one small thing that I would show you. See, this is the network tab. And here, what you can really do is, if I just sign out, I would show you the example here using the website of GeeksforGeeks itself. Okay. That's I have signed out. This is the page. Now you would observe something. Okay, see here you can just track. This is the network tab of Google Chrome where you can track the outgoing request. So now if I select Google Siddharth, so now if I select it, see an outgoing request would go. Okay, fetch SHR, see accounts.google user ID, client ID. See, there went a request, okay, with some form of client ID, with some password or something, okay, which is using that Google service. Google, like for login with Google, it is using a service. As of now, Google doesn't charge us. Let's say Google is charging us. The thing is to protect that, to protect that, to protect this thing in the form of web or technology, what we have is we kind of send the request not explicitly, but inside the hood so that external users are not able to see the token that I am using. What I meant by that, let us understand that. So I would again share my screen. So see, this is the Hugging Face API. What is this Hugging Face API? Basically, this is a AI model, okay, which uses the Facebook's AI model under the hood. You don't need to know that. Like we have an API of Hugging Face. If we give some text to this API, let's say long text to this API, then it would give out a short text, that is a summary of that. Understood? We have a text like this. But the thing is, you just give the text to it and it would give a short text. No, it doesn't happen with that. What happens is here, you need to send a token along with your long text. So a token should accompany the long text. If that token is valid, then only it would give you a short text. Okay. Now what happens is, if I directly use this API directly, if I directly use this API, then I would send the long text as well as the token in the front end itself. What would happen is someone can go to the network tab, can inspect the parameters that I am sending, that is the token, and now he can steal my token and then he can use this API in the name of me. Now, if someone else has got this very same token, then this API would say that, okay, Siddharth is using the token, let's increase the bill of Siddharth. Okay, here this API is free, but the outside partners API are not free. So if someone is using the same token as mine, they would be charged. I would be charged, not they would be charged. So that is why that is why we call it a full stack app. So we have a long text over here, and we would call our API, okay, which would be a kind of wrapper API. This is a kind of wrapper API. Okay, wrapper API is nothing but API on top of API. We term it as a wrapper API. And this wrapper API would add what? Would add the token. And then this API would make a request to the original API. So now if you observe that this thing happened at your backend. This is your backend. And this is your front end. So now if anyone opens up the network tab, or if anyone is just seeing your request, he would only see that a long text has been sent. He won't see the token. The token is out there in the backend that would be sent along with the API. Okay. So that is why we can call the backend as the kitchen, where this all token things can't be seen or can't be done. And here in the front end, we would just see the long text going on. That is why this we are building up this wrapper API over here. So we are building up this wrapper API over here, which would have this. Okay, fair enough. Now, what are the other instances where you would see a wrapper API? What are the other instances? Let's just clarify this thing too. But first, tell me this, that what is this wrapper API that is used in this project? Am I clear with this idea or not? Just this idea. That what is the importance of making one more API over another API? Am I clear with that? If I'm clear with that, I would move forward. If I just translate the same in Hindi, that would be, होता क्या है, हमारे पास एक API है जिसमें कुछ सीक्रेट पासवर्ड लगेगा. अगर हम लोग फ्रंट एंड से ही उसे पासवर्ड के साथ रिक्वेस्ट कर देंगे, तो फ्रंट एंड में कोई भी इंस्पेक्ट एलिमेंट खोल के हमारा HTML CSS देख के उसे पता लगा सकता है. इसी वजह से हम लोग बैकएंड में अपना सीक्रेट रखते हैं और सारा डेटा हमारे पास बैकएंड के सर्वर पे आता है. उस डेटा के साथ हम अपना पासवर्ड भी अलाइन कर देते हैं और बैकएंड से ही रिक्वेस्ट करके वापस लेके उसको वापस भेज. Okay, am I clear with this idea? Just give me a quick one. Just send me a quick one at this point. Okay. Sir, this is my first. Do I need any pre-knowledge? No, just simple knowledge. What is token? Token, my video is glitching sometimes. Okay. Let me just see. My Wi-Fi is working absolutely fine. Video settings, advanced or something. Okay, I would just remove this HD thing. Yep. What is token? Token is a password that is given. Okay. It's fine. Okay, we can move forward. Okay. Now, what are the other instances where you would see a wrapper API? Okay. So I would give you other instances where a wrapper API is seen. Okay. So now there is one more instance where it is seen. By the way, this glitch is because of this thing streaming live on YouTube too. Okay. So now this wrapper API thing is also used. Let's say an API is telling that if Siddharth, like someone is giving me an I'm using a service. Okay, I'm using a service that can shorten a text of size 200, but I'm giving it. The more I give it, the more it would charge me. So let's say someone is just giving it, like what I meant to say is, I would just tell you that. See, let me explain you that. Otherwise, you won't get the context of this. Please repeat once more. I'm repeating. Okay. So see this. So see. Let's say what happened was, this is, let's say, company ABC. He gave me an API to use. Let's say this company, ABC company, is an AI company. Okay, he gave me an API. What is this API all about? This is the same text summarization. Okay, so he tells me that Siddharth, this is an API to summarize a text. But if you summarize a text which is more than 200 words, then I would charge more. Then he would charge me more. Understood the context? Again, translating the same in Hindi because the majority of the people are in Hindi. मैंने एक एपीआई पार्टनर एपीआई लिया जिसमें 200 मैक्स लिमिट है. अगर 200 के ऊपर जाते हैं तो उसका एक्स्ट्रा चार्ज लगता है. ओके, what happened was, let's say this is a request that is made by the user. Request that is made by the user. Okay, so now, as of now, he has typed 450 words to summarize. What would happen? Okay, this 250 words, if I go and hit the API with 250 words, okay, I would be charged more. Now, there are two ways to handle it. The very first way is that I implement JavaScript over here or anything over here so that he can't write more in the text arena. Okay, but there is also one bug over here. What happens is, I don't know, for people who are not working professional, they won't really understand it to that depth, but I'm just giving you a picture. What happens is, the outgoing request can be intercepted. Okay, the outgoing request can be intercepted. Okay, and they can be changed to, again, let's say 300 words. Okay, like this JS, like what we can implement JS. Like JS is the person who would stop Siddharth. Don't allow him to write 200, more than 200 words. And JS would stop him. But there is one more thing in the industry, that is people can intercept the request that is going outside. So even if the JS is stopping him, whenever the request is going outside, he would intercept in between and he can increase the text size. That is why what happens is, that is why we have a wrapper API who would do a cross check before sending it to the final API. Okay, this is where the wrapper API again comes into picture. That the thing is, before hitting the original ID and password, we are doing a cross check over it. Okay, so many a times wrapper API is used to do cross check, to conceal our secrets. This is the positions or the scenarios where wrapper API comes into picture in the real industry. I'm just giving out the information from the real industry. That is what the industry uses. जब भी हमें कुछ information छुपाना है अंदर का, जब भी हम ऐसा सोच रहे हैं कि यूजर इससे कुछ प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट कर सकता है तो हमें क्रॉस चेक करना हो, तब भी रैपर एपीआई यूज होता है. अगेन इन इंग्लिश, सो व्हेनेवर वी वांट टू conceal our secrets, we use the wrapper API. Whenever we want to cross check a request, that yes, we have a front end rule to implement that, but still we need to be sure about that. So to cross check it, we use something known as this. So that people who are intercepting the request also, they can also not bypass it. These are the ways in which the internet is made secure. People who don't do that, they are the ethical hackers, or the ethical hackers find out and they do a bug report or something. Okay, that is the thing out there. Okay, so now I hope these are the small terminologies that you need. Okay, these are the few terminologies that you need. And now let us move forward. Okay, now I hope you already now know why we need another API over the same old API. What are the checklists that we have done? Why is one more API needed? What is token? What is token? What is a wrapper API? What are we building out of that? Okay, so now to build out everything, I would show you in a nutshell what needs to be Done. So now see, okay. So basically, now what we would do is, this is the front end that is there. This would make a request to the backend. Now this backend would make a request to the Hugging Face API. This yellow one is the Hugging Face API. See, where we reach the Hugging Face API. And then it would give the request back to the backend server, and this backend server would respond. Okay, so we are kind of having an interface in front of the Hugging Face API and the front end, which is catering everything. If you observe, all the summarizing logics and everything is catered by the middleware, kind of. Okay. Now, at this point, let's do a pulse check. So, which of the following we are not implementing in our project? Tell me. Which of the following is not implemented in our project? Quick Q&A. Yep. So we are not using any database here. Okay. Because the token is already there, API is already there, front end is already there. We are making an API which would just act as an interface. That's good. Okay. Now, we can make our projects in the Visual Studio Code, Sublime Text, Atom, many other places. The classical coders would use Sublime or Atom. To be honest, I have also used Sublime a lot. Okay. So Replit is just doing everything over the internet, where you were just carrying along all your code base in whatever device you log in. Okay. So it is told that we need to set up Replit. So we need to fork up this project. After forking up this project, this would look something like this. And now I would explain what this project simple thing is all about. I would go inside each of the folders and explain you. Okay. The very next thing is the Hugging Face API, which we would need. Okay. So what you need to do is, you need to go to this website, that is Hugging Face. Okay. It is already there in this text summarization. All the links are mentioned here. You need to go here, make an account, then go here, and then go to access tokens, and then make a new token out of it. After you have a new token, that is this. I shouldn't show you my token. After a new token is there, we use this token to test it. Now let us test if this Hugging Face API is responding with our token or not. Okay. So let us see this in action. So let us open Postman and see, after I have the Hugging Face, okay, and I have the token, I already have it in my Postman. So let us see if this is working or not. What is this working all about in the Postman? I would just show you this. Okay. So am I back? Just give me a quick heads up. Just a quick pulse check. Yes, my internet is back. Okay. Replit new competitor is Project IDX. I don't really know about it. Sorry about that. Okay. So now see, this is the project directory that you would have. This is also there in the Postman. You just need to fork out this. Now, at this part, this is the backend, this is the front end. So this is the post API. Now see what is it doing here. Okay, we would need to make an API over here. So see this. Okay, we need to make a post API where we would just hit the summarize. And here, this is the text that we are giving. Okay, we are just giving it the text. See, at this point, we are not using any token. This would give a hit to our Hugging Face API. This is our API, which would get the text, receive the text, and this API. So our API would conceive the text, and this API would process the text. See, this is the max length, this is this. And if you observe here authorization, here we have a thing known as token. Okay, we can edit this token. So here we are just having this token and we are entering it. Now, if we send a request with our token, it would respond to that. See. Now, let us edit this. See. Settings. So here you can edit it. Edit the variables. Create the fork. Generate text. Edit. Edit the text summarization. Variables. See. Now what I can do is I can just say good morning or greetings. Greetings. If you like this session, then make sure you share some love over LinkedIn and YouTube. Okay, let's say send it the text. Okay, I send it the text. If I send it this text, see what would be the summary of this text. Okay, I didn't save it. Sorry, man. See, greeting. If you like this session, then make sure you show some love over LinkedIn and YouTube. If you don't like it, then don't share with anything else. Okay, anyone else. So basically, if the text is very small, it would just make it more elaborate. And this is funny enough. Okay, and this is funny enough and cute too. Okay. Okay, don't make sure you don't do the second line itself. Okay. So now if you observe, this is using the token, and here we send the token to it. Okay. So here you can fork out the project in your Postman. This is the text summarization. Now let me go through the project arena. Okay, here we have all the images that we are using. Okay, this is the index.html where we have the text box, and this is where we would give the text. Now we have the script.js, which we need to write on our own. You need to write it, and then there is one more thing, you need to add one more customization on top of it. These are all the styles that we have here. If you run up this project, this is the project that we have. See, this is the project we have it. If I just change out something over here, see, this is the AI text summarize. If I just change it to, so if I just change it to something like simply paste your text, this is where it is written. See, if I just say simply, instead of simply paste this text, geeks for geeks. Now, if I save it, and then if I run the server again, GeeksforGeeks X Postman. So all the things that are written here is getting comprehended by this. This is where we would take out the things or the behavior of the things, and then we would keep it. This is style.css, which is giving all the styles of it. If you just see, if I remove the background style, and if I save it, and then if I do it, the background would be gone. See. So I would just change the color of the red one. That would be more prominent. See, it has a background color of this color. And now if I refresh it, see, the color is gone. So this is where the styling or the overview or the representation of this is made. This is where the index of the page, which would decide Where are the requests going? This is all about routing. If you don't really know Node.js and Express, you can just learn it. This is the point where we have all the routing things, and this is summarize.js, where we would need to write our own code. Okay. So now if you have any issues at this point, quickly ask me. Okay, this is the, I again said you, this is the Hugging Face API, Hugging Face Interface API, which would API to access Facebook, but large CNN model, a large language model for search, text summarization. Just understand this is an AI model, and under the hood, this is an algorithm of Facebook. Okay, so anything more that needs to be catered, I am not saying. Okay, this is the express routing. Okay. Now there are few more things that are very interesting. Okay, that are very interesting, and I didn't even knew, like, whenever I didn't like before, as a college student I didn't knew this. When I came to work in the industry, now I know this. Okay, so now there is one small thing that is very important out of Postman. That is generation of code. Okay, like you can directly take the code. Like let's say you got an endpoint, you tested it with Postman. Now I want to implement that in my project. To implement that in my project, what I would do is I would just go to this code part, and then I can just select the language in which I'm coding. Let's say JavaScript or jQuery. So let's say this is a JavaScript. So let's use just jQuery because it is very simple to look like. It's very simple to look. See, here this is the whole code that it is giving me to just integrate this endpoint. If I directly use all the things like this, I need to edit some of this. Like I don't need this to console, just console in my log. I need to use something else. That is a different scenario. But here we have the skeleton code that is needed, and we can just edit the skeleton code to move forward. Okay. So now let us see. So this is the code generation thing, which is very cool as well as interesting. What are the changes that are needed? The changes that are needed is this one. So generate code, changes that are needed is this. I would just show you this. Extend, make the front end interactive, understand. Yes, see, changes that are needed is we don't write require thing in the middle of. We would write it in the top. That is why we can just write it in the top. So these are the small things that are needed to be changed, because it is just giving you a skeleton. It is not following the outline of your own project. So it would give you a skeleton, change it according to your project style, and then you can move forward. Okay, and this is good enough to move forward. Okay, so now what are the other things that needs to be catered at this point? So this is, yeah. So now what you need to do is you need to implement the script.js file. Okay, what it would do is it would handle all the authorization part. It would say which where to go from this side. Like it would take up the endpoint. Okay, it would take up the text. It would send it to that, and then it would be done. What are the responsibilities it would cater? Detect user input, then it would first verify it from that point, and then update it. When the text, like after the text is here, we update it to the DOM. Okay. First, it would detect the user input whenever user would type anything, and then it would click summarize. It would detect the click. That is, it would add an event listener. It would extract the text, verify its length, and then it would give it to that. Okay. So now I think you know here, this is the event listener that I just talked about. This is a very small thing. Any text up till this point where we can go, okay, got it. If you're enrolled with the text, I can go the. Okay. So script.js file is for handling everything. Okay, what it would handle, like taking the text, verifying the text, then moving forward. Okay, like where to go from here. Like this is the very first person sitting here in the reception who would decide that, are you done with the payment? If you're done with the payment, then he would give you a room number where to go. So the script.js is nothing but a reception, which would first verify your documents. If your documents are verified, it would ask you to go to your allotted room. Okay. The role of the script.js is this. Okay. Making up the request, and we are done at this point. Now, if you are if you understood everything, if you don't have anything to ask, give me a rating out of 1 to 10. Okay, if you want to ask anything, make sure you ask me. And okay, the response seem good enough. If you have anything to ask, you can ask me. You can give me a rating so that I can have a smile on my face and I can move forward. How to give attendance? The attendance is taken here through your rating. Or if you ask anything towards the end, that is also attendance. Just give me your honest rating. No issues. We can't around. That's clever enough. Okay, fair enough. Okay. Sir, I have a question. What is the Postman agent needed to be? No, the Postman agent is not needed to be installed on desktop. You can use the web app also if you have a little bit lesser configuration laptop or desktop. You can move forward with this. Can you explain what have you explained since I joined right now? Okay. What I explained is the importance of authorization token, the importance of wrapper API, the importance of the backend server, the importance of the very important script.js file. Thank you, everyone. That was it for today. In the Postman final task, I am getting error. Okay. Okay, sure. Can you have so so at this point, I would just share my LinkedIn. So at this point, I would just share my LinkedIn, and then you can, if you are done with your Postman project, make sure you tag me on LinkedIn. There are folks who have already tagged me, and I would love to have your tag and just to mention you. So I would just share the link itself. This is my link to my This is the link to my LinkedIn. Whenever you complete the project, make sure you tag me. Okay, so if you're getting a error in your Postman project, just make sure you send me. If I get the bandwidth, I would debug it. Thank you so much, Sri Ramakamant. So is this the last session? If the feedback is good enough, and if I get very much more responses on LinkedIn, I would make sure these kind of session keep continuous. I would ask the team, because I'm not the one who decides it. I would ask the team, and I think they would be good enough with you all responding and enjoying it. So can I apply Postman leader program for this? Yes, I really don't know the perfect or the fine-grained the details, what is needed or what are the requirements, but you can move forward and see to it. If your requirements match, you can move forward. So I think we are pretty good, and people are already there. Thank you, everyone. It was nice talking to you all. Goodbye, everyone.